Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Burgeoning the podcast. I am your host, Leah J, with a lot to say. And today I have on Miss Victoria Rickards. She is a beautiful soul. She's an artist and she is blowing up, y'all. She has been featured in museums in both Miami and in South Carolina. So I'm gonna allow her to just take the mic at this point and she'll tell you more about herself.
Yeah. Well, like she said, my name is Victoria Rickards, and me and Leah, we met at the College of Charleston, and yeah, my life changed a lot once we graduated. Like it just completely changed. And now I'm an abstract contemporary artist. I'm residing in Columbia, South Carolina right now, but I have roots in Miami. That's where I was born and raised, so I kind of split myself between both places. But yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Okay. In Miami, back and forth. I love that for
Right.
you.
Right?
Okay,
Seriously.
okay, so tell me about the last time you were in Miami, though.
That was in December for Miami Art Basel. That was my first time ever exhibiting. And if y'all have never heard of Art Basel, it's basically one of the I think it is the biggest art event that happens in the United States, period. Definitely in the South. But I think in the United States as a whole, because they have Art Basel in Hong Kong, I believe, in another European country, but for United States, it only happens in Miami, so it brings down a huge crowd of people coming to see. But I was exhibiting with Solana, which they're in the NFT space. So I did one of my digital drawings were actually chosen to go, and that was literally my first time ever exhibiting, ever seeing my art on the wall in a professional setting ever. So to have it be my first time at such a big stage, like what? That really had me feeling
Yes.
confident, really confident.
Yes. No, that is so beautiful. I was like, wow. Like, I look, I am not a
Mhm.
big art girly, but following your well, I can't say that because I do like art.
Yeah.
I do enjoy going to the museums. I just never have followed an artist like you before. And
Yeah.
to see your art go from the designs that you just posted to in the museum so quickly, it just blew my mind. I was like, wow, this girl is blessed. You are blessed.
Seriously though, no, you're right. I listen, like it's such a crazy thing because I didn't know what to do when we first graduated. I didn't know I was a daycare teacher and stuff, and I was learning from the kids. They were just
That fits
so
you though.
creative. Yeah, I loved it. Like I was really trying to get them to, be free in art because growing up, like my parents, they never, they're immigrants, and I think that's a big thing. They never put any box around me of what I can go to school for or anything. They just wanted me to have a degree, so they didn't really care what it was in. They just wanted me to go to college, and I did, and
Right.
went for theater. But they never ever said anything like art can't make you money. You're not going to do this. You're not going to no, art is foolish. Nothing, never anything like that. So I always wanted to give that to the little kids that I was teaching and try to encourage them because that encouragement made a big butterfly effect with me to this point. Like it really did.
Yeah. First of all, that is really a blessing to have parents that will just nurture you in any way, like nurture whatever you may want to be or whomever you want to be. I think people have a hurt childhood when they don't have that. So it is a blessing
I know,
to know
right?
that you received that and then you passed it along. You said
Yeah.
that you were learning from the kids. What do you mean by
Mhm.
that?
Yeah, so for me in school, high school, I was always in when we chose our arts, I always picked visual arts or painting, whatever. That realm was really my thing from elementary all the way to high school. And I found that I mean, we learned a little abstraction here and there in elementary school, but in high school it was more realism and perspective. It wasn't really abstraction. No one really taught me how to tap into that side. So I found that children actually were the best teachers for that. And for me, I'll learn from anybody. I don't care. Like, you can be 2 years old. Literally, they were too. And I'm sitting here watching them like, yeah, teach me how to draw a monster again. Like, that's something I lost. You know, as we become an adult, we learn, we kind of lose that like whimsical side of us. And we become so, I don't know, just not as colorful, not as like fun and spontaneous. So I would watch them and I'd be like, hey, like, yeah, we're drawing now. Let's draw, guys. And I would just sit there and watch them, and they just crank out a little drawing real quick, just like it's nothing. And it was just so inspiring to me watching them be able to tap into that side, because boy, it was real hard for me in the beginning. Like, I was drawing a lot of like anatomy and skeletons and things like that, trying to understand the body. And they weren't doing none of that. They didn't care about that. They were just trying to just draw whatever they that popped in their head. And I wanted to learn how to do that again, because I lost that. Like, school made me lose that, I think. Yeah.
Mm, that is so good. Like being that lifelong learner, like it- um accepting that we need to embrace our inner child again. I think that's what you're saying, right? You're pulling out your
Yes.
inner child through your art
Seriously.
right now. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's so
That's exactly what it
healing.
is. Seriously, especially through art, like especially if you were told by a teacher ever, no, this is not right. Like, that's something that I want to do like in the future with my studio. Is I want to have a place where I can teach everybody, whatever age you are, teach them how to tap into that childlike part of them. And in my school, like, there would be no critiquing. Like, I'm not critiquing you. I'll just tell you what I like about it, but I'm not going to tell you what I don't like or tell you what you should do. Like, I completely reject all the elements of art. I just do what I want. Like, I don't care for you to tell
Period.
me, like, and I find that in fine art, they want you to, like, follow the elements of art. And I mean, those are important, but I don't think about them like a checklist while I'm making. It's so intuitive for me when I make art. Like, I just look
Yeah.
at some colors and I'm like, listen to some music, or I watch a movie that inspires me, and then I just draw a little quick drawing and get it painting. I don't think about line and color and all the composition, all these things. I
Mhm.
just do
Mhm.
what I want. I find that a lot of people kind of were stopped because of those elements of art. I mean, I feel like sometimes it's really not that serious. It's about self expression. So who are you to tell me what's
Right.
right and wrong? And I think I
Right.
want people to
Right.
have that chance, to enjoy art without that box. Like, just do what you want. Who cares? Like, I mean, if y'all want to look at it through the elements of art and critique it like that, sure. But I'm not thinking about that when I'm making it. I'm just making it, and whatever comes out, comes out. Like, I'm content with what I make, as long as I like it, good enough. That's good enough for me.
It, and people like it,
Yeah,
and I think that that
yeah.
confidence that you have, that belief in your art, that I look,
Hmm.
I'm not doing this for you, I'm doing this for me, and if you like it,
Oh,
you
yeah.
like it. If you don't,
Oh, well.
that's fine too. Like, it is what it is. Like,
Seriously.
that is such a freeing thing. I went to the Van Gogh exhibit in 2022. It was in Charleston.
Oh,
They've been
yeah.
doing his exhibits all over the U.S. But
Yeah.
I went there, and one thing I was reading, I was very interested in reading his bios. That man was
Yeah.
very depressed. He was severely depressed.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
He was in a mental institution, and he believed in his last days, like, that he would never be known as an artist. He
Yeah.
still made whatever he wanted to make. He
Yeah.
still did that. And he did. I mean, look, we're talking about him now. If only he knew, if only he accepted the things, yes. If only he accepted the same truths that you have accepted, like, who knows what he could have been or how, but he put a lot of sadness into his art.
Yeah, that's one thing that haunts me, is knowing that there's some artists that literally never saw their fame. They never got to see that. They became famous in death. That tends to happen, which is very unfortunate. And I think that's why I try to award myself with the congratulations from now. I don't need y'all to tell me congrats. I mean, I love it. It helps. It really helps. Like, I really like when people tell me how they feel about it. Like, oh my god, I think about it and I replay it in my head. Like, I everybody, like, I think about it constantly. Like when I'm at the market and people come up and they just stop or they call it weird, whatever. Like all press is good press. Like I just like hearing, something, something about it. Just hearing that
Yes.
people care enough to comment. Now that's something. Whether it's good or bad, like at least I'm making a conversation. At least I'm thought provoking enough for you to think about it. So I think that I try to literally like give myself the chance to feel, feel the response from others, because I find, I mean, that's all fame is just a response of somebody telling you how they feel.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
take that now rather than looking for like 1,000 people. I'm good with the 5 people that tell me. Like I don't need 1,000,000 people to tell me for me to feel like I'm successful, like at all. At all. As long as my dad tells me I'm good, hey, I'm great.
Right, right, right. Oh, I
Seriously.
feel that. I feel that, and I receive that. Well, this is season 2 of Burgeoning, and
Yeah.
I'm still like in disbelief that we're making season 2 right now. Like in season 1, my prayer was like, Lord, if it's just one person that's touched, if it's just one person, and like now I'm in these conversations with people and they're like, I love your podcast, and or like
Yes.
I'm talking about like my podcast to people, because if you're a podcaster or if you know a podcaster, they're always talking about their podcast. Like, oh, I have a podcast. Like, I'm in the grocery store. I got a podcast. It's called Burgeon.
Right.
I'm everywhere promoting this podcast. And but to make it and to be an artist at this point, it's been really rough. Like having that confidence when it's like, okay, I don't
Yeah.
necessarily hear anything back. I'm not getting any feedback at all right now.
Mm.
That is a really trying thing to kind of overcome. So like I have to accept
Oh
that
yeah.
all press is good is good press in some type of way. Like, but
What?
it is about being confident in your creation that matters the most, I think. Yeah. Would you agree?
No, you're absolutely right. I definitely think that. There was a moment like when we first graduated, that was in what, 2021 for me. Like I said, I went straight into being a preschool teacher, and I bought my iPad, which that changed that. Now that is one of the moments for me where I think it was some major foresight, and I didn't know, because I remember when I bought the iPad, it was a Christmas before we graduated, so sometime I think what, 2020, literally 2020. But I bought the iPad, and when I bought it, I said to myself like, I'm gonna make my money back from this iPad, like. And I didn't know how. I had not made art the whole time in college, like a good 4 years, not making nothing, But I was that confident. Like, I mean, this is the first step to that, but I most definitely will. And I'll tell you this right now, I definitely have. That came true. It didn't come true right away.
Period.
It came true like
Period.
4 years later, But it came true, and it came true way bigger than I ever imagined. But it did. And when I bought that iPad, like, I was drawing digitally at first, and at first what I did is I had my original Instagram, which was growing from like middle school when we first started our Instagram, and after a while, I just felt like I didn't really care to share certain parts of myself with people anymore. I just didn't care, like. But what I did care about was sharing my art, so I kind of deleted my original page and went straight to art. So if you're on my art page, I feel like you genuinely care about me, because I gave people a chance to convert and go over there, because I was getting rid of my old self. I just didn't really want that anymore, and I was looking for something new. So literally, I had both pages for like 3 months. Then after a while, I completely cut it off, because I found that on my regular Instagram, if I post a picture of myself, oh, everyone loves it. Or I post my art, not many people would interact. And I wanted a page full of people that cared about that, because that's what I cared about, not taking pictures. I mean, I love that for memory, but I don't need to show y'all that. Like, I really want to show y'all my art. That's what I really care about. So I deleted that, and then now we have the page that I'm at now, where it's like fully focused on that, and I get a lot of feedback. But at first it wasn't like that. Like I felt like I was talking to the wall, and that's what made me delete my whole Instagram. I was that frustrated, like feeling like I have like 3,000 of y'all here and y'all don't care. Like, so goodbye. Just got rid of them and found my tribe of people that genuinely love that and care about it. But at first, like, I definitely kind of felt like that feeling of confusion where it's like I'm making something that I enjoy, but I also do want to hear how people feel about it, and people weren't telling me at first. And I just kept drawing and drawing and showing my family. I would keep showing my dad like a little kid, like, look, and my brother, look at what I did. And then after a while, that led to other people doing that too. And it kind of snowballed from there. But I think it's definitely about that confidence that you have in the beginning and just knowing that you're doing what you love, whether it's good or bad, like you're just doing what you love, and as you keep doing it, it's just it has no chance but to go up. Like no other choice, only up from there. The only way you can go down is if you stop. Like
no choice, because one, growth is not linear. So you might have some valleys, but it's like, okay.
Oh yeah, it's going up. Mm-hmm. You're going up for sure.
And two, in your obedience to the vision that God has given us, heaven will do nothing else but make space for it to happen. The only way it'll be blocked, is if you're not doing nothing. If you're being disobedient in it. Oh, this is such a perfect segue. You are already preaching to us. So you shared a little bit with the iPad story, but tell us that moment. Tell us about the burgeoning journey. Like, I feel like we're already in the conversation. We might as well get the question now.
Oh yeah. I love telling this story. It's so inspiring to me. Like what I do with a lot of my time these days is just this. Like that's why when you were like, I would love to have you on the podcast, I'm like, I would love to come because I listen to people talk all the time. It's so helpful, like hearing how they feel. And I never really thought that one day I'd be telling my story on one because I've listened to so many people tell theirs and feel myself with their feeling of like, oh, an excitement of like, oh my gosh, like look at that.
Girl, this is the first of many. What?
No, seriously, no, I agree for sure. But it's just
this is a press tour.
No, seriously. It's just kind of crazy though, because literally it's been like 6 months since I started all of this, and all of this has happened 6 months pretty much. But how it all began, literally after that iPad, I bought the iPad, I had it, I was drawing, doing skeletal drawings because I was basically trying to do the one thing I do remember from college of them teaching us. And I took art and I dropped it both times. I did not like it because I don't like someone telling me what to do, like telling me what to draw. I would start it and then fail, not finish it. Like, so I liked the freedom, and I found that me and my little iPad, I was just drawing what I liked, following masters, seeing what they did, and listening to their feedback and trying to follow in their footsteps a little. So I was paying attention a lot to Basquiat. He really influences me a lot. Yeah, seriously. And I feel like the Caribbean American identity he has really like speaks to me because I definitely show a lot of that in my art too. But he was talking about how he started out looking at a lot of anatomy books and drawing anatomy. So I started doing that too and drawing full body human skeletons, doing various things, driving in cars and all kind of random things that I thought about. And I liked that for a while, but I kind of felt like it was kind of overdone already. Like there's so many things that look like this, and I wanted my own voice. So kept drawing, slowly started drawing people and my friends, and I was good at that and I enjoyed it too. But once again, I kind of felt like I'm looking for my own voice, not something that's been done already. And I kind of felt like the portraiture that I was doing was just kind of basic. Like it was nice, but it was just kind of basic to me for my taste. Because for me, I have a very extravagant taste. I like different and pushing the limits. I like to make people uncomfortable with it. I don't like to be a sheep following around everybody else. I like to take up space and be different. So I just felt like it wasn't different enough for me. And then there was a moment that, honestly, this is the moment for me that changed my life. Me and my boyfriend, we got together, and it was our first time going on a trip ever together. And we went to the Bahamas. My mom is from the Bahamas, but she didn't raise me. So I wanted to go there because I was seeking myself, trying to find some sort of connection to her and try to see where she's from, see the food that they eat. I didn't know nothing. Like, I knew about my dad's side, the Jamaican and Trinidadian side. I always knew about that. I was raised with them, but I was not raised in a Bahamian household. So I wanted to learn my mom's culture. So I went, and it was awesome. Like, I felt so a part of it. Like, they kept telling us how we look like we're supposed to be here and whatnot, and it just would really fill me with that feeling of, yeah, like I belong here, going there and hearing the music and knowing the words of the songs. And I've never even stepped foot on the country. Like, that made me feel amazing, so connected. Like, even though I didn't know the food and things like that, like, one thing that's universal in the Caribbean is the music. They play that music everywhere. So just having that connection really meant a lot. But I think it's very important to note that one of the start of my whole relationship with art that I have now started with someone who I had no relationship with, my mom, and me trying to seek her. Because literally, I'm walking around her island, and we were in Nassau. My mom was born in Freeport, Bahamas, so all of that is around the same area, not too far, So pretty much looks kind of similar to what her hometown might look like. But just walking around, and suddenly I came across this mural, this big wall-length mural, and it was depicting Junkanoo, which is a Bahamian festival that goes on, similar to Carnival. It's just their rendition of it. And I just see like all these black faces and trumpets, and just you can tell the vibe of the festival by looking at the mural, and it really spoke to me. I just loved it so much. The style was so unique. Um and I really loved it. So I came home. I remember I took a picture of it, and I remember standing there and looking at my boyfriend and being like, wow, I really like this mural. Like, this is really nice. Like, this is speaking to me a lot. Took a picture of it. We kept walking. And when we came home from the trip, that was like one of my favorite trips I've ever taken, ever in my life. Like, it was just so validating and so inspiring. So I came home and I started painting, and I started doing another master study of trying to, not necessarily copy, but definitely take major influence from this mural and find my own voice within it. So I started depicting Carnival. So it looks pretty similar to it, but I started also adding my own flair to it. And at the time, I was going to hardware stores and going and getting their paint chip things and chopping them up and using that in my art, like to make a 3D effect with the headdresses that I was putting on the women. Literally, I came home and I made like a good couple pieces, and I started making some digital ones too. And I was really inspired. I felt like I was getting somewhere, and I was like, wow, I'm feeling like I'm getting some wind here. But then kind of reached another wall where I felt like, once again, like after I did those 5, I'm like, well, what next? Like, I kind of felt like it was kind of given more illustration, not necessarily like fine art, like what I'm looking for, like my own voice. Once again, it was different, but I still felt like it wasn't different enough, not different enough for me. And it wasn't speaking to me. And I just kind of stopped there. And then I decided to think back to what I was looking at with those children in the pre-K, like, and what they were doing and how spontaneous they were. And I started trying to get into that. And I struggled for a little bit at first. Then I started going back to my old art and seeing what are the 2 aspects I want to keep. And I kept the eye. Eye is very important to me. I use that as a motif for like just the soul and whatnot. I really feel like, seriously, like the eyes are very, very, like something about them. It's just very, I don't know, like they used to creep me out, but
yeah,
literally on that cruise, which is so crazy, we were on the Carnival Elation. And if you ever go on that ship, you'll know what I'm talking about. But they have a dining room that has peacocks. And it's just straight eyes everywhere in there. And it freaked me out. I was so freaked out about it. So it's so interesting to see. Now that I've become compared to with all the
Yes.
eyes all over the
Yes.
place. Like,
Yes.
I think
Yes.
sometimes what scares you is like what's actually good for you sometimes. Like, and I think that's
Yeah.
very.
Ooh. Ooh. That's a good point.
I was terrified. I was like, oh, I don't like all these eyes. This is too much. But now I love them.
I think that's what intrigued me by your art. It was the eyes. Because at first I was like,
Yeah.
hmm,
What's going
I
on
don't get
here? Yeah.
like I don't really get this. But
Not
last
understanding. Yeah.
last year I did a summer bucket list. One of my summer
Yeah.
bucket lists was to wear more color and to
Yeah.
see your
Oh,
use of
that's good.
color. Your use of
Yeah.
color was like, wow. Color is not childish.
Oh.
Like
No,
color is
it's not.
sophisticated.
Mm-mm.
Color is beautiful. We need color.
Yeah.
And so
Color's godly. Think of all the colors that are in God's world that He made for us. Color is godly. Like, I'm wearing the colors of the sun, like, and enjoying sun energy with this or whatever. Like, to
yes,
me, God
yes,
made all them colors for us, for us to use.
yes. Yes, yes, yes. I agree with you so much. And I think
Yeah.
the eyes were like a little off-putting, but it was the color. They look like
Yeah. I was
flowers. And I feel
drawing
like
it.
when the way that you use the eye made it look like the inner part of a flower for me.
Yeah.
And
I could see
I
that. I could
I
see
was
that.
like,
I love that.
wow, wow, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
The use of the eye was was intriguing. It was off putting at first, but then like for me, the color brought me back in, and it helped me
Yeah.
to see it
I
differently.
love
But
that.
yeah,
Yeah. I love that. Like seriously, that's why like I don't really take offense when people say like, "Oh, that's just creepy" or whatever. Like because I felt the same way at first with eyes. Like we all have our own feeling about. I mean, when you see a bunch of eyes at once, sometimes it's very like jarring. Like, oh my gosh, like. And I tend to put like 6, 7 eyes in one piece. So I get it. Like I don't really take offense to that. I just love that you see the juxtaposition I'm trying to do of that eerie feeling, but the calmingness of like the familiar colors or nice, friendly colors is like I like to say, like just nice. They feel very friendly and energizing color is what I try to
very,
pick.
very, very energizing. Very energizing.
Yeah,
What is also intriguing about your pieces is that you say you put like six eyes on a piece. Well, that's what angels are described to look like in the book of Isaiah. Like
yeah,
eyes,
exactly.
eyes
Everywhere.
everywhere.
Uh-huh.
Baby.
Seriously.
Baby.
You're right.
Baby.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
I had a conversation with my sister and I think I'll be scared to see an angel. And she was like, yeah, that's why they say don't be afraid. Like that is why they
Don't be afraid. Literally. Oh.
but like you said, like God gave us color, God gave us the eyes as well. God put eyes on all of these angels and covered their bodies. Like literally, like that is wow. Wow.
There's something about it.
Yeah, there's something there. Yeah.
Just think of the intention when I'm making it, like, and what energy I want it to give, because I really believe that energy is something that is big and you can feel it. And I think that's why people tend to be drawn to my art, because like I put a lot of good energy in it. So even if it's creepy or something, like they're still drawn to it. And I think it's
Yeah,
that
yeah.
that intention I put behind when I make it, because I'm telling you, I've gone through a lot of phases with it too, of just being like, oh, I hope this is not scary. I'm not trying to be scary now. Like, I don't mind when I think it's scary, but like, I can never really understand. Like, like one of my most popular ones, sometimes I can see how someone could think this is scary. Like, I can see that. Like, I can understand, but I definitely love when people like get outside of their box of like what's stereotypically scary and choose to see something. Because I think that's kind of like a motif for life in general of like, not always are things going to come like how we expect them to look. Like sometimes the message comes different. And that's one thing I was doing with my art at first. I was putting a lot of, in my digital ones at least, I was writing words of like deceit or mistrust because I was feeling a lot of that. But the painting looked very nice and happy. And that was what I was trying to show. Like, I mean, sometimes like the deceit or the mistrust, like it hurts, but something good happens out of it.
Yeah, yeah,
Sometimes,
yeah.
sometimes you gotta, go through that. Like sometimes that's just in your path.
I think that's true for burgeoning. Like that's
Oh
kind of
yeah.
what we're discussing. It's like it the journey upward is full of X, Y, and Z. You've just told us about how you've changed. You had to
My
find
gosh.
your voice. Like you've told this beautiful story of you finding your voice in your art and changing and
Listen.
going to different paths, and like that comes with the things that hurt us, you know?
Yeah, it's so true. You hold all of that in the little backpack, your lifelong backpack. I feel like we all carry like a little book bag, and we choose what to keep. And some things are just stamped on that book bag, like it's just not coming off. Like, and it just can't. I mean, you can cover it up, put a band-aid, but it's not going away. Like, and you just got to learn how to live with it. Like, for example, for me, continuing with the story, like after I gained this whole bunch of drawings and whatnot, I'm like feeling confident. Well, as soon as I started feeling confident, I started going to the market, selling at the market. That was nice. Started making literally my whole week's paycheck in 4 hours, and that's when I was starting to feel like, oh no, maybe I don't need to work anymore.
Big money Vic.
Seriously, some days in the market, I tell you, if y'all have anything y'all want to do, go to your local market. You'll be surprised. After a couple months, I think I started the market in June. By August, my other job, I was a data analyst, they laid me off unexpectedly. Literally. That is another big major like turning point, because I wanted to like do art full time, but I was scared. Like I wanted the stability. I wanted, a known paycheck of how much I'm going to get. And when you have your own business and you're on the market, I mean, things fluctuate. Like it's never the same. Never.
Right.
Never week to week is it the same. So I didn't really want that. I wanted to feel safe. And I wanted to keep my little data analyst job, but they let me go. They laid me off. Harshly at that.
You wanted all your coins, period.
Yeah.
All your
Mm-hmm.
coins.
Yeah.
I still got my little, I can't even call it my little 9 to 5. I have my 9
Yeah.
to 5.
Literally.
Podcasting ain't paying me yet.
Right. You gotta do that sometimes.
We're figuring it out. We're figuring out how to monetize this thing. Like
literally.
Someone said last season, he said, basically your purpose, when you know your purpose, your destiny will begin to make way for you. And sometimes that looks like your job laying you off. Holy Spirit, I ain't ready yet.
See, right? I know, right? Sometimes, keyword, sometimes, okay?
But hey, it worked for you. It's working for you because you're a full-time artist.
Girl, I definitely experienced that, like just that feeling of, oh my gosh, like I just lost my whole job. Like now I'm focusing on art full time. I have no choice. So I started going real hard, like, applying all kind of opportunities, anything I could see or find. I applied, learning, watching a whole bunch of YouTube videos, specifically the contemporary art issue. Like they're just putting me on to like the do's and don'ts, because apparently in the fine art community, there's a lot of unwritten rules that they don't explicitly tell you that you're supposed to just know through research. Yeah, sounds familiar? Like, you know what I mean? Like it'd be like that. So
it's giving elitism. It's giving,
Yeah, exactly. So I had to get right. I had to learn all that because I didn't go to college to be an artist. So I didn't have a professor teaching me this. I had to learn that on my own, and I did. I just looked it up and read whatever was out there and participated that way. But I was feeling very uncomfortable, and I did not like that I was pushed there. But I also saw the beauty in it of like, okay, well, I guess this is what I'm clearly meant to do this. Like I'm always so confident and faithful to God. So I never look at the decisions like, why did you do this? I know God's going to take care of me. Like I just release that worry. And I feel like there's a key with like being faithful. I think for me, one of the biggest things, the biggest advice I could ever, if you believe in God, yeah, you better have faith. And like having faith is not just like hoping that's going to happen. No, it's like knowing and living that and acting like it and breathing it for real and knowing that that's going to happen and it's going to work. Because if you have doubt, it's not going to work. Like
At all.
you whatever
At
you
all.
think is what you attract. Like if you think negative, oh, it's not going to work. That's exactly what's going to happen. Like
No,
that's exactly what's
no,
going to happen.
no. It's
Literally.
like I have 50 cent, but I have faith that you will provide in that 50 cent.
Yeah.
I don't provide food, provide
Yeah.
shelter, provide
Do it.
X, provide Z. Like having faith is really a game changer for
Oh, yeah.
anyone who may deal with fear. I dealt with fear I deal with fear. Like that is a thing.
Mm.
I'm human, but I know that about myself. Like sometimes I have let fear stop me and hold me back, and I let fear affect my confidence level. So it consequently dealt with a lot of self doubt, especially
Yeah.
it.
Oh
And
gosh.
then I wear a mask, and then I mask it with my smile, so I can hide it a little bit. But all of that really will eat you up. But having faith transforms it.
It
The way faith will defeat fear is so beautiful.
seriously.
It will protect you, it will hold you, it will get you through to the next thing, and it will have people thinking that you're crazy. And
Yeah.
if your faith is not having people think that you're crazy, you need to step your faith game up just a little bit more.
Yep.
Just to,
Exactly. I love saying that. Ooh.
you need to step your faith game up just a little bit more, because girl, I be telling people faith around
Yeah.
and find out. Faith around and find out. Like
I like that. Aww.
that's what you did. You faith around and found out that your art can take care of you. Forget that job.
Yeah. No, for real though. Like, and even when it's been low, January, in fact, this is my first year ever having my own business. And like, one of my biggest things is like, as a 20 something year old, like, I let myself make mistakes. I don't care. There's no such thing as like a loss. It's just lesson. Literally, it's just lessons. Like, I don't care. I don't get mad at myself. I don't make myself feel bad if I made a mistake. No, I don't care. Like, and I think that helps too. Just giving yourself that grace to be like, what if I fail? Okay, so I don't care. That makes you unstoppable because you're not scared anymore. And like, I have a piece that I did about fear and how it can paralyze you, because I felt that too, of like, oh my gosh, like I'm so scared, like I don't even know, I don't even want to do anything, or I'm so excited, I don't know where to start. Like, oh gosh, I've experienced that plenty of times. And literally just listen to music, pray, talk to God, and boom, you get back into it. And if I don't feel like doing it that day, I don't look at myself like, I'm not motivated, I'm not doing the right thing, I don't want to draw today. Sometimes I'll go a month without drawing. So like, that's just how it is right now. I just go with the flow. Literally. I think that's been helping me. Just kind of accepting myself day by day with what I can give and just being okay with that, And just because I find that like you tend to exceed more when you don't put so much pressure on yourself. Like, I mean, pressure is good, but for me, like, I found what works for me of just being a little bit more lax, because I find that I have to just let it happen naturally. And it'll happen naturally if I don't stress myself out about it. Like, if I stress myself, then now I'm off put by it. I don't even want to do it. But when I was feeling that fear, I remember that piece. A lot of people tend to like that one because they feel that too. And yeah, like I felt fear and I just drew it. I just drew it real explicit, like with words. I basically did a conversation between like my higher self and my more negative self, basically like talking to each other. One saying like, I'm scared, I'm nervous. Another one saying like, fear is stagnant. Fear doesn't do anything but make you stop. Like, just keep it going, keep it going. And that's one of the pieces that I connect with people with, because they feel me. Like, and that's one thing I'd like to do with my art is be real. I'm very honest. Like, I was a hush child growing up. Like, I was told to be quiet and we don't need people knowing this and that and all that. So I find that now I just use my voice because I didn't get to as a kid. And that's a way that I, you know, champion myself instead of feeling like voiceless. Like people will tell me how they feel about it, or you should do this and you should do that, and I take it and I listen sometimes, but I'm the only one that matters. I mean, I let people have the chance to say how they feel, but I don't take it that serious. And I at first I would feel like, what I'm doing not good enough? Like, what you trying to change me? Like, but then I had to realize that maybe they're just that excited about it that they want to tell you how they feel. Like, even if you tell
Yeah,
them like,
have some
I'd
input.
rather
Yeah.
not. Yeah, maybe they're just so excited they just can't help it. You know, I just adopt that mindset rather than
Yeah.
feeling like people are being negative to me or they don't like it. Because I found that was a big thing for me, the insecurity, like running that line of feeling like uncomfortable or feeling like, oh my gosh, like they don't like it, no one likes it, and having to combat that with my own like affirmations and people around me, or
Mm-hmm.
what's even worse is when I make a painting and I don't like the painting. Oh, that
Yeah.
hurts. Because I feel like I wasted my
Yeah.
painting. Okay, I felt like I
Yeah.
wasted my time. You know? And normally I just paint
Girl.
over it, start over, and it's just that simple. You know, it doesn't really have to be. But sometimes that'll mess with me too, because I'm like, I thought this was gonna go better, and now it just went completely left. Like where I went too far, I did a
No.
little too much, and I ruined it. Like I just
Yeah.
kind of back up. I
Yeah.
put it in the shed. I leave. I don't look at it for a couple of days, and normally when I come back after like a week, I'm like, wait, hold up, this is nice. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I think that conversation is important. Like, okay, I don't like this, but if I go away for a second, maybe I will. Maybe it's the fear,
yeah,
maybe it's the anxiety talking first. Like the first
mm,
voices are sometimes hard, but that's why discernment is so important. And that's like I think that's what you're describing as well, like with you taking and choosing not to take some criticisms, like well, not criticisms, but you know what I'm
yeah,
going
like some
for.
comments
But
and stuff.
yeah, the
Yeah,
comments. I rather use the word comment than criticism. But I love Pastor Torrey Roberts. He
yeah,
is he is like a mentor for me right now. And
yeah.
he said something in one of his sermons. He was like, "Eat the chicken, spit out the bones." That's how we have to go
Mm,
about life sometimes, where we take what we want and then we spit out what we don't want,
I
and
don't
that is
want. Yeah,
true.
yeah.
That is,
It
and
is
that's so
true.
true for even with like what you were saying with our lower selves talking to our higher selves. Like that lower self can help us grow and help us
Yeah.
become that higher self if we okay, I am fearful of this. Why are you fearful of this? Like what can you conquer in this? I think that the duality is important, but that discernment to understand what do we take out of the
Oh
voices
yeah.
that we don't necessarily want to hear all the time or want to accept, or the negative opinions that we may formulate about ourselves at first. I struggle sometimes with even my recordings, like editing and producing this
Oh,
podcast. I'm comfortable at this point, me talking to you right now. I'm comfortable with how it sounds. Maybe as I continue to grow, I won't be anymore. But in this place, myself right now, I accept it, and sometimes that's what we have to do. That's all we have to do to get the confidence to put it out, to say I accept me right now, what I produce right now.
I love that. Literally, I love that. Like I think that's what kind of makes people feel so like stagnant, like, and make them like stop and feel so like excited or nervous that they don't do anything, because it's like you want to make perfection, you want to reach so high, and a lot of us have expensive taste because we've seen so many, like, we get so much like content that's like superior, very good quality and whatnot. So
Girl.
we tend to have very expensive and like, high taste. And sometimes you have to realize like, oh gosh, I gotta get a different mic. I gotta do this. I gotta do this. I can't get that until I have this, this, and this. Like, but you don't have that yet, so you have to just start. And at first, I was making videos and kind of going like the more influencer way, and I didn't like that. After a while, I was kind of looking back like, this is not really what I'm looking for. Like, I'm a fine artist, a professional artist. I'm not no influencer. Like, I don't like this, and I had completely went. If you go on my Instagram now, you wouldn't know any of that happened. I deleted all them videos, and I made like 100, and I deleted all of them because I no
You
longer
made
felt like that
100
was me.
videos? You
Yes,
made
I was
100
pumping them
videos?
out like every day, sometimes 3 times a day. I was drawing and painting like crazy. Yeah, trying to like, because I felt like we're in the age of internet and whatnot. Like that's the best way to gain my audience. And I mean, it depends on the type of audience you want. Like, I mean, and I found that in today's time, I do my best networking in person at the Soda City Market or at art events. I go to gallery openings and other just any art event in the city. I go, and I find that that's when I do the best networking and the most meaningful things that actually lead to real things going on. For me, it's been word of mouth communication, not the internet. And I had to learn that like it's okay to change. Like it's okay to completely like hear one thing and be like, wait a minute, like I actually want that instead, and completely change. Like that's all right too. Like it
Yeah.
really flips around
Yeah.
sometimes.
Wow. It's so beautiful talking to you because I'm taking in so much right now. As far as like
Oh
I'm telling you, like we're in season 2. So I just really wanted to get to a point where I'm like, okay, how do I do this and I don't feel so stressed and so strained because
yeah,
season 1 was
yeah,
hard on me. Like it was really, really hard on me. And I applied so much pressure to myself and I was
yeah,
seeking perfection and I was looking at people who had like thousands of followers and who had been podcasting for so long. And I was not looking at people around me, like people with baby pods, people with just growing pods in general. Like
baby pod.
I've baby pods.
That's so cute. I love that baby pod. Aw.
And I was told last season that I'm just in seed form right now. Like I am in seed form. I'm growing. I'm in a place where I have to grow and I have to burgeon and I have to pop out in the way that is authentic to me. And to hear you just say like, I'm doing it authentic to me. I don't have to do it how everybody else is doing it. And I think that's what's attracting people to you even more is because
Yeah.
that authenticity is just it shines so bright off of you. It shines so bright
Oh,
off of you and off of your
I
art
love
and
that.
just you don't put out much on the internet, but the things that you do, people are seeing it. I mean, I saw, and I was like, let me text you right now.
Yeah.
Let
And I
me.
put that on my close friends. Like, I didn't even have that for everybody. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like,
What I
I
didn't
love
even
that.
realize that. I didn't even
Yeah.
realize that.
It was
I
only
just was
close friends.
like,
Yeah. I was just being honest
we
and
need to,
raw with y'all.
yeah.
Yeah, because I wanted. What she's talking about is basically I was. It was literally like the day that I dropped all the. I was recently at the Columbia Museum of Art. That's my recent feat and accomplishment is being accepted there, and they have an auction that they hold every year where they allow emerging artists anywhere to come and auction off some of their pieces, and they split the profit, and the proceeds go towards buying new art for the Columbia Museum of Art. So it's like, hey, you know, one day maybe you could be the artist that they buy from. And that's the mentality I went into it with, of like getting to know people, learning the museum and whatnot. But like that day I was feeling so like, oh my gosh, like I'm on top of the world. Like I just dropped off my art, 5 pieces that have been in my house for like a year. I made them, I invested the money, I invested all that time and paint and all that, filmed them, edited the video, you know what I mean, with that. So much work, did all that work, and I didn't see anything from it until a year later. And I still kept with it. I didn't sell them, I didn't do nothing. I was still okay, and I still made paintings, even though I wasn't selling any. I still made them. And literally, all 5 of them sold. All of them are gone. Like,
Period. Period.
it,
You planted your seed and you watered it and you watched it grow and
seriously.
you and the fruit from it. Baby, if
What?
that's not a blessing,
I'm
that's not
telling you.
walking by faith and not by
You
sight.
have to. Yes, yes. Like it's just
Oh,
the knowing of like, I mean, it might not sell right now, might not sell tomorrow, might not sell literally 8 months from now, but literally, and it's like if you give up, can you imagine if I was to just give up after spending all that money and all that and not knowing that a year later all of them were gonna sell? Like my studio's empty right now. I'm working on making some new paintings to fill the space. Like, I'm not used to that. They were there taking up space a whole year, and now they're gone. Like, just like that, by being in the right place at the right time. There's two things that I want to share with you that, like, in the Caribbean, they have these little sayings that, like, your grandparents will always say and whatnot. One of them is every knife have them draw, which means literally every knife has their drawer or every knife has their place. Like, you don't have to fit in because every knife has their own spot. Like, it's just that simple. That is really important to me. And you have to be in position to gain possession. If you're not there in the spot, how are you going to get it? Like, girl, I think I replay them and closed mouth don't get fed. I play them over and over in my head.
Yes, a closed mouth don't get fed. Yes, my mom used to say that too. That's a diaspora thing because we know.
Seriously, they love that one right there.
Say it again. The second one, you gotta be in position
to gain possession. Yeah, you have to be in position to gain possession. Literally, because for me, when I got to go to Art Basel's, because I basically hacked my not hack literally, but, like, I'm figuratively speaking, saying that, like, I know that how Instagram's their ad algorithm works is that they show you ads on what you like. So I only like stuff that I like. And I started getting only open calls. Open call, artist call for this, artist call for that. And I came across the artist call for Art Basel, and it worked. As I was in position to gain possession. Same thing with going to the Columbia Museum of Art. They came outside, literally, when we do the market, the Soda City Market, it's right outside of the Columbia Museum of Art. One of their people were walking around to recruit artists to bring, found me, and I was just there. And bam, I was in position to gain possession once again. Like, I really believe that. You have to be in the right place. Like, you have to be there in order to get it. Like, you're not going to get it if you're at home sometimes. Sometimes you got to be in the right place, whatever that means for your situation. But I really believe that. Like, you have to be in position to get. I say it all the time. It's very true.
Wow. I'm writing that down and putting it on the sticky notes.
Please do.
Yeah, I'm putting it on my, like, sticky note wall. Actually, I got to put that somewhere else. I got to put that not blending in because I need to get that. You said we can't be at home, girl. I work from home, and I be at home, but I can't be at home.
Me too, though.
You're telling me to get out the house.
Too. I work at home too. I was working from home. I was a data analyst at home, and right now my studio is at the house, so I work from home too. But what I do is I just go to little events around. That's what gets me out. Literally going to the art events. That's it. Other than that, I'm at home too. I'm not going anywhere. I don't just casually just leave. Like, I just stay at the house. I'm a homebody. So unless I have a reason, I'm right at my house too. Trust and believe. Like, I only go out every now and then, but I make it worth it when I do go,
Yeah. I mean, you made it worth it. You made it so worth it. Mm-hmm. Oh, this has been so good. This has been such a blessing of a conversation to have. So my next question is, how is God getting the glory in your artistry, or just in where you are right now?
Yeah. All right. So one of the biggest things for me is I don't know if you've ever listened to music made by Rasta people like Bob Marley and them.
Yeah.
But they tend to have music that's very uplifting, very godly. They talk about God all the time, and it's just, I would listen to it all the time. So I find that to me is my way of, like, connecting with God along with prayer, but definitely, like, it really, like, just, I don't know, something about the energy in the music and what they're talking about just always speaks to me and gets me in the right headspace. But I talk to God all the time, like, and I try to tell people, like, what God's told me in my head, because really and truly, like, I couldn't do any of this without God, literally at all. Like, there's just no way. So I try to just give people my story, because really, I got laid off. I thought I was done. Like, are you crazy? Got laid off. I was done. No job, no nothing. I had to rely on what God was whispering in my ear, but I was listening to the whisper. If I didn't listen, I didn't get in position to start doing this. I didn't know God was literally saying, girl, they're about to fire you, girl. Let's get you a job right now. I didn't know that. I did not know that. I was just following it. So I try to give people the confidence that was given to me, literally, and tell people about what I'm going through, or I try to express the the different lessons I learned from God and my art, a lot. A lot of it is lessons that I've learned in life. But I really just try to talk to God's people and let them know, like, listen, if you really believe in God like you say you do, then it should be easy to have that faith. It should be easy to like trust God fully and follow
Mm-hmm.
God. I think that's hard sometimes. And for me, I think where it gets hard is the unknown, like jumping out into the unknown with someone like that. It's just can be scary, but I also believe that once again, it's all in your mind. It's such a mind thing. I think one of my biggest things is teaching people the mindset because
Mm-hmm.
it's a magnet. Your brain's just a magnet. Literally, your thoughts become your words and whatever, and it just spirals from there. So if you think bad, bad's gonna come. And if you think good, real good, it's gonna come. I smile when bad things happen now. Because to me, when bad things happen, that means something good is happening. When I
Yeah,
got laid off,
yeah.
I was not smiling. I was scared, okay? But I'm smiling now, girl. You know, because sometimes sometimes when bad things happen, like for example, my grandma died. She died and that was like last month. It was just like a whole bunch of things. I completely fell out with my family and everything over that. And I still smile because I'm like, something good is gonna come out of this. And literally after that, I went to the Columbia Museum of Art and did all of that I told y'all about earlier. Sometimes you have to smile in darkness. You have to be that delusional to smile even in a pitch black room. Like you have to have that. Because if you don't believe that, how is anyone supposed to believe that for you? That doesn't make sense. I'm supposed to convince you of your dream is possible for you when it's your life?
And ain't
No.
nobody gonna do that. Ain't nobody gonna.
Exactly. No one is.
Ain't,
So it's like if you don't, it's just dead now. It's done.
I mean, okay, somebody will tell you like, "Oh, good job. Like you should do this. You should go for it."
Yeah.
But we can't.
But you can't count on that. Like,
We can't count on that. We cannot count on that.
yeah.
We can't, and we can't count on somebody always holding our hand. Like the
Yeah.
only, and I can't even say person because the only hand holding that's going on around here is between me and God. God is
Literally.
leading. God is leading. I'm following. God is leading.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
following. And when we can't see God, He's holding us. Like that's it. That's it.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Uh-huh.
We have to know it. We have to know it. Like all of those doors, I was just saying today, like, thank you, Lord, for all of the doors that have closed to protect me. Like, if a door is
Yeah.
closing,
Oh yeah.
that just means that protection is there. When we get out the
Mm-hmm.
way of those doors, like when we get out the door frame, because sometimes we won't go in the room, but we won't go out. We be scared. We be scared to
Yeah.
just sit back in the room or go out. But when we move out the doorway and really come into the hallway, that is where all the doors are in the hallway. Like so many,
It's
so
so
many. So
true.
so the locked
I love
doors, the closed doors, like they don't matter. That's not for you. The one that
that.
opens is for you. And that's the one that you got. Well, you gotta be discerned. You gotta be discerning in that. Because sometimes there's a door to
Mm-hmm.
the seat that might open up. But
Right.
but that is again being led by God because God's not leading you into no door of deceit. God is not leading you into no
Seriously.
door of failure. Like that's not happening. That's
That's so true. Like it and I really think that like yeah, like literally like the faith part, like just having faith and knowing like yes, this I mean we're all talking about God, but we can't physically see God. I mean, I can't. I don't know. I'm not speaking for anybody else, but I know I haven't physically seen God in the flesh, but you know where I do see God in nature, you know?
oh
That's
my
why
gosh,
anytime
I
I
was just
feel
about
a
to
type of way, I go to nature.
go to nature.
Nature's my
I go to
church. Like
nature.
that's where I go to church. Mhm.
yes, I go to
Literally. To
nature. I
me,
go
like
to
I go out
nature.
there and just, you know, yeah, that's what God made it for. So I feel like that was man's first church right there, outside, outdoors. Before we knew how to build walls and all that, it was outside by the river or outside in the grass or wherever you're at. Like that's just where it was. So I tend to tell people like, hey, like, go outside and clear your mind and then come back and think about that, or sometimes you just need to that clarity, listen to some birds and watch some trees sway and all that, and let all that negativity get out your body. One of my favorite things to do is write to God. I love praying,
Oh,
but I like
yes.
writing it a lot. I don't know what it is about it, but I love writing. I have a journal where I have like 4 years worth of
Yeah.
entries, literally. I
Yeah.
love that. I think that's helpful.
Yeah, last year I produced a blank journal. It's called Love Letters to God. And you
Oh,
can buy it on Amazon, but it's just a space
yeah.
that it's just a space that you could just write to God. Just
Yeah.
I and I be
I
in that
love
thing.
that.
I be in that thing just writing, just getting my heart
Seriously.
out. Yeah. It's like
It's helpful.
Lord,
Clear
yeah.
that out. Like, and
Mhm.
anytime I feel scared about life, I just tell God, like, God, like, I know you know a lot more than I do. So I I trust you that you're gonna lead me in the right way, and this is happening for a reason and all that. Like, but I know you know more than I do. You know way more than I do. You know the story
Mhm.
already. I don't.
Mm.
You're trying to fill
Mm.
me in. You know what I mean? I don't know nothing.
Mhm.
Like, you know the story. I mean, I know what I would like to see, but you really know the story. So, even in the struggle, like, you know what's gonna happen next week. And I just imagine it like that, like God looking down at us, like knowing what's gonna happen, and it's all like a test, like to see if you're faithful enough to like continue to have that same positivity even in darkness. That is not easy at all, but I think when you master that, you definitely see the fruit from it. Because
That is so good. That is so good. Like it is a very hard reality, like to accept that, okay, like I still have to have the same faith in my struggle that I do when everything's going peachy keen or just a little I like when it's hard, your faith and your positivity, like that's important. Like saying, hey, praise God. Like my account overdrafted. Praise God. Like I could be somewhere else. Like
right.
it could be situations could I could really be in a worse situation at this point. Like, but we just gotta stay positive like that. Just like you said, when all the bad things happen, it just means something good is around the corner. And
Oh yeah.
again, I'm just receiving this conversation. Like I'm just accepting this conversation because child. Whew, child.
Boy, I was raised by multiple grandmas. So them
Yeah.
old ladies that gave me all their mindset. So I tend to really feel like I try to walk in what people tell me. Like I said, I'm a lifelong learner. So I definitely listen to everybody, like with discernment, of course. But I definitely, when I hear a gem, boy, I put that in my pocket real quick for
Okay.
later.
Okay. And then if the gym is no longer serving, I'm throwing that one out too. Like I get we eating the
Yeah, get that out. Exactly.
eating the chicken, spitting out the bones.
I
All right.
love
Well,
that. I love that.
well,
That's a good one right there.
it is. It is. It is. That's the one to keep around. But we've talked about like all of the things that you've learned. So, what are you learning right now?
I'm learning how to be social even when I don't want to. Because sometimes I don't feel like going to the events. Like sometimes I don't want to be social and all that. And I tend to like be like, oh, I'm the boss, so I'm just not going. And then I feel so guilty, like, should have went. Why didn't I go? Like, so trying to learn how to maybe mentally prepare ahead of time, knowing like, all right, we're gonna go to this event, girl. Like this is an investment for your future. This is not just talking. Like this is a whole lot more than that. Like don't get so cocky to the point where you just let go of opportunity, just keep that
Mm-hmm.
in the front of your face that I'm trying to keep going up. And if I'm too content with where I'm at, I'm not going to keep going up. Like I need to keep working the room, keep doing what's been working for me, which is meeting people. And that's one thing I struggle with is trying to get out the room because I've been working from home for so long, and then the pandemic and all that. I feel like it caused me to like retract into my shell more. So I'm trying to learn how to be consistent with showing up even when I don't feel like it. in person. It takes so much energy, talking to somebody, like it really does. It takes a lot of energy. Sometimes I don't have it.
I agree with you in so many ways. I agree with you in so many ways. But what I am learning in this lesson as well, because I'm here in that lesson as well. But what I
Yeah.
think I'm learning is that it's because we've learned ourselves a lot better and we're able to discern or see people. And sometimes we see hurt. Sometimes we see people's pain. We see people's happiness and like becoming like more centered in yourself in this like isolation. Two things can happen. You could either like develop a whole bunch of anxieties and like try to reject yourself, or you could really center yourself and um you appear to be a very centered person, a very balanced person, or seeking balance in the best way. Um
Yeah.
but but it's painful to kind of get back out and get social and then be drained by people when you work so hard on
Oh yeah.
being the person that you are. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You got to find a way how to, fill that cup up so that you can have the
Yeah.
energy. Because I'm learning like, what do I need to recharge the battery? Like, what helps me do that? Like, I'm starting to I find that like with all this free time I've got, since I'm not working the 9 to 5 anymore, like sometimes I'm doing what I love all the time. And sometimes I'm like, there's more nuance to it, than just what do I like sitting outside and whatnot, drawing, painting. Okay, that's cool, but like, what do I need to charge a battery? Like, because I thought I was doing it, but then when the event comes, now I'm like, no thanks. Like, I don't really feel like talking to everybody right now. So
Right. Yeah.
I I'm trying to really learn that. Like, but I think you're
Yeah.
right about
Yeah.
that. Like we've taken the time to like learn so much, but like it's an infinity onion. Learning yourself, it's just never gonna so many layers to it, and it never ends. That's what I think. Like it's always gonna be something new you learn about, like, and like you said, like it can change too, like drastically.
Girl, we can keep on talking.
I
But
know, right?
this has just been so good, so filling. I am so happy that you're here and I'm happy that you've chosen Burgeoning to share your story. As we come to an end of the pod, unfortunately, y'all, we at the
I
end.
know.
But I just want to ask, like, is there anything that you want to know from me?
Yeah, I want to know right now when you were talking about the editing and stuff, like how often do you do like a pod? Like what is it like the timeline spacing that you do with it? Like I would like to know that. Like how often do you like set
Ooh,
aside time to film? I know the editing takes forever, but to film, like to talk, like what is your quota for that?
ooh. So this is that's such an interesting question because I think filming is like the easiest part of all of this. Like filming is the fun part. So
Hmm.
I have my like my set days that I'm like open to filming, and then last
Yeah,
season God told me only 7 episodes in the first season. We haven't gotten a certain number of episodes for season two. So
yeah,
right now I'm just, doing episodes, getting people on the show and just kind of going with the flow of everything. But like I said, the filming part, that that is what it is. It's the fun part of it. It's where I get
yeah.
to hear wonderful and beautiful stories and connect with people and be healed and hear them be healed through this beautiful reflective conversation where I'll sit in front of in front of my camera and just be healed by sharing my story and reflecting on the conversations that I've had or the things that I've learned and things like that. So I don't really have a set
Set quota,
it's
yeah.
yeah, a
Kind of
set
go with the
quota.
flow
It's
too.
I feel like if we're like if I could put it in a comparison type of thing, it may be the moment where you just are flowing in the painting. That's what.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. I can understand
Yeah.
that. For
Yeah.
sure.
So yeah, the editing now, that feels like fixing everything up, getting everything
Yeah.
together, trying like yeah, that's work. That's like that's a little bit more tedious, but also sometimes editing feels like painting as well because it's like
Yeah.
I'm fixing the audio, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, So the whole point, like the whole process of producing just feels like a lot. I do put a lot of time into editing because it's very tedious. It's so
Yeah.
tedious. um
You're a one woman show, you know?
yeah, yeah,
A
yeah.
lot
I've
of
been
work.
praying for yes, I've been praying for a team, but I was talking to a podcast friend yesterday and I was telling her that I do like 10 minutes of a show. So I'll edit 10 minutes of whatever the show was a day.
Mm,
And that takes about 3 hours. So, yeah.
yeah, I bet.
so
Okay.
10 minutes takes 3 hours. So then you split it up and you get through the show. But I spend a lot of time here. It's my baby. And
Yeah. Oh, that's so
yeah,
cute. I
I put a
love
lot
that.
into it. Yeah, thank you for
Yeah.
asking that question. Thank you.
Yeah, I was so curious because my man, boy, I would be making videos that are like 30 seconds long. And it would take me like 2 hours to edit it because I'm trying to find the best moments in it and all that. So that's why I'm like, oh, I get it. I get it with that editing, boy. It's fun, but it's so long. It really is long. Like I love seeing it come together. Like that's how I feel watching like towards the end of the painting. At the beginning, sometimes I look at the painting, I'm like, oh God, what's going on here? But after
Yeah,
towards the end, that's when you always get oh God, this is great. I can't wait for people to see this. Like I know
yeah,
that's how you feel
yeah,
too. Like that's awesome.
yeah,
I've listened to a lot of podcasts, but I don't really come across that many that are just so like focused on such a pivotal and important part of like anyone's come up story. Like, what was that burgeoning moment? Like, I really think that is so important. Like, I love this podcast. I think it's so awesome that
Oh,
you're like so consistent. Like, it's so great. I'm so proud. Like, and I love seeing us like have that full circle moment. Like we were in college, like both of us doing something else, and now we just came right back to what we wanted to do the whole time. But we had to go through that to find that. Like I love that for us. It's so great.
oh
Like,
yes, yes. No, thank you. First of all, thank you so much for all the flowers. Like, girl, I can give you flowers all day long. Like, I am
oh,
so proud of you. I'm so proud of you and you just going out there and you're doing it so confidently. You don't know how much life you've spoken into me tonight. Like, it's just
oh.
been so amazing to have you around. And then, like, here we go, the ending. The ending is always super cute
I
because
know.
it's just like, okay. I'm always curious to know like how people may have perceived this, but like I said, we just spent all night talking about your business. Like you can get into mine a
I
little bit. So,
know. I know. What was your versioning moment? Like a quick spiel. I know you've said it before, but like, what's like to you? Like, what was like that? Like a quick version of it.
oh, so I think that I'm moving into a new burgeoning. Like I'm currently experiencing a new
Oh,
burgeoning. Like yeah, yeah.
that's so
So
great.
the top of this year has been really, really trying as far as like being a podcaster again and really saying I'm committed to this and I'm going after it and learning all of these new things. Like you said, like it takes time. We're on YouTube, like we're self learner, like we're
Boy.
doing this on doing this without. I haven't gone to school for public speaking. Like I didn't do communications. Like I am so grateful for the experiences that I've had in college that have led me to have more of this platform, like, where people are used to hearing me talk about things. But now I'm like just in this space where I feel like I'm starting everything all over again. So, like, all of last season, I talked about this one beautiful burgeoning moment where I met God after um, being drugged out of Charleston, basically by my loss,
Yeah.
like snatched out of Charleston.
Drug out of there.
But but now I'm here and I'm in this wow, this is exclusive, but girl, I'm getting into ministry now and
Oh
I
my
am also
gosh.
yes, yes.
Oh, I could easily see you doing that. Easily. Easily.
Yes. So um I'm just I'm just figuring it all out all over again, starting all over, and I can feel it. I can feel the growth that's happening. I can feel the seed cracking its shell and becoming what it needs to be. And I feel like the seed was planted long ago. It was just I learned that seeds can lie dormant. There's like a seed that they found lying dormant for like 400 years. It was just
Oh my goodness.
four 400 years.
Oh,
God does the design is so
yeah.
crazy. So like you mentioned
Ooh.
earlier, like I've always wanted to be like some type of speaker, like doing this in some type of way. And that seed that was planted in me as a child, now she's finally like, hey, it's time for us to get out
Oh
there.
my god.
And God is gonna I believe that this is a ministry for me. God is using this as a place for me to start. And hey,
Oh,
I'm gonna
yes.
flourish. I'm gonna flourish in
Yes.
it.
I'm so
Yeah,
happy for you. Oh my gosh. Yes.
thank you. That's it. That's like a mini, the smallest amount that I can
Man.
give you. It's happening now. It's happening now. So stay tuned.
Boy. Oh, I am tuned
Y'all, this
in.
has been so fun. This has been so amazing.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
I'm just breathing it in. I'm breathing it in. It's a blessing to be able to breathe this in. And I know that it has been fruit for me and where I am right now. And I just pray that you all have received her words in such a beautiful and just open your hearts up and receive this podcast. Receive it. And that it
Seriously.
just I'm just praying that it adds just a little sprinkle on top to the overflow that God already provides, right?
Yeah, seriously. I love it.
Yes, Vic, you've already given us so many gems, and we got to it's our responsibility to put them in our pocket, like you said, to put them in our pocket, put them in the backpack, along with the things that we might not want to carry, but we have to carry. Girl, thank you for the gems. How do we pay you? We're gonna have to pay you by
Boy.
really coming at you with this art. But
I know, right?
but thank you again so much. And again, y'all, just a little sprinkle on top of the overflow that God already provides. I am Leah J, and this has been Burgeon in the podcast.